Step 3, display to-dos. Great, you have a failing E2E test. Now we can make it pass. We find the best way to work with Cypress is to keep the failing E2E test running while working on our app. This helps you see the progress you're making. We'll start in on our progress now with trying to make our first step pass. To do this, we'll open our app.tsx file, and we'll start by declaring an interface called to-do. For now, we won't do anything fancy in here, just a title that's a string. Next, inside of our app component, we'll use the useState hook and destructure out our to-dos and setTodos function. We'll also set the generic on our useState to be an array of to-dos. And as the last step, we'll add a couple of to-dos here for our initial state. First one with the title to-do1 and second with the title to-do2. With our useState hook all set up, we'll go into writing some TSX. And we'll start with a h1 tag with the title to-dos. And then we'll go into an unordered list tag. Inside of here, we'll start with our to-dos from our useState hook and map each of the to-dos in our array into a list item. We'll give each list item the class name to-do, and remember this will match our page object helper function we defined. And inside of the li tag, we'll add the to-dos title. This should get us past our first test now, so we'll go ahead and save our app.tsx file and go ahead and rerun the tests on Cypress. As we can see, the first step immediately passes and we see the to-dos in our list to the right. However, we still don't have a add to-do button, so we'll look at fixing that next. Coming back to our app.tsx file, we'll start in by creating a new function called add to-do. Inside of this function, we'll use the setTodo hook. Inside the setter, we'll start by spreading our current to-dos and then appending to the end of the array a new to-do with the title that we'll call new to-do and then pass in a random number between 0 and 999. With this function in place, we'll add a new button inside of our TSX. And we'll give this button the ID add to do. If you'll recall, this ID matches the helper from our page object file. And we'll add an on-click listener and pass in our add to do function. With this in place, we'll save and rerun our tests in Cypress. And we can see that our tests pass. And overall, this gives us some great feedback and developer experience to know that the functionality we set out to develop has been achieved.